Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon and Hector, where we take a look to see how the managers in this league are getting on in their quest to be crowned a champion for 2021-22. Hello gentlemen, pleasure to have you with us here today.
Yes, thank you. Always a pleasure to be back. Another week, another football, and see that we have one of the amigos with us here.
Yes, Hector, you're back joining us this week. How are you?
Not too bad, I have been resting foot, doing good, and, I have been keeping well.
Keeping out of trouble, as they would say.
I don't get into the trouble that much.
That's a little bit debatable sometimes with you.
Now, we've no Captain Fantastical Mick with us this week. Unfortunately, Mick is feeling a little bit sick and a little bit ill at the moment. However, he did ring in, and I had this little chat with him just a short while ago.
Hello there, Mick. Are you on the line?
That's right, I'm here. Thanks for taking the call.
Mick, I believe that you're not feeling too well, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm afraid I've got a little bit of a cold. I've been trying to be shaking it off here, but it's not really paying off. And I didn't think I should really be coming into the studio when I've got a bit of a cough, just in case I pass it on to Hector or to Eamon or even to yourself like that.
Well, Mick, I have to say, you're probably doing the right thing there by staying at home. And tell me this now, are you taking medication for it? Have you been to the doctor?
Well, I'm not been to the doctor just yet. I'm sticking with the home remedy, the Vicks, the whiskey and the honey.
But you're not mixing all that together now, Mick, are you?
No. Oh, no. I'm not drinking the Vicks. No, I put a little bit on my nostrils and I inhale that. 3 times a day. Spread it out. But the whiskey and the lemon, I'm on that. I take that 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 at night, and then might have a little hot lemon drink when I'm trying to get to sleep. So, but look, it's not getting any worse. That's the main thing, and that's it. And as I said last time, people were saying about the cupboard. And I told them, cupboard, it's in there, it's serious business. And this cold, that's serious as well. So you just got to, restrict yourself, stay at home. I'm sitting in, I currently have TV on there. I'm watching a little bit of, there's a program on there, it's called The Curse of Oak Island.
Curse of Oak Island. Okay, that sounds interesting. You might be able to tell us a little bit more about that. Could you, maybe when you're back in the studio?
That's no problem, yeah. I could talk all day about that. Was so good.
Well, Mick, listen, the lads will be sorry that you're not able to join us for this week. We've got a bumper week, busy week ahead. So we're going to be reviewing the game week. We're also going to be taking a look at couple of things there, especially what Hector has got up to as such there, and see has Eamon any news for us as well. Get yourself well, get yourself in full health, and we'll see you when we see you. Isn't that right? And look, I'm sure all our listeners are saying get well soon, Mick.
Thanks very much. I just want to say a big thank you to all the listeners. Really appreciate that. And as I said, sorry I can't be there in person, but I think it's best I keep my distance from everybody.
Okay. Mick, thank you very much for making contact with us, and as I said, get well soon.
Take care, alright, all the best to Eamon and Hector.
No problem, I'll pass that on indeed.
Thanks very much, you're great, thank you, look forward to hearing the show, thanks, bye now, bye.
Well, there you have it now. Mick's got a cold.
Well, I hope he's going to feel better soon about that. I can't say that I'm not heartbroken that he's not in the studio, especially when he could be passing on a contagious cold to either myself or yourself.
Oh, how about me? He could pass on it to me too.
Oh, yes, of course. I did think of you too, Hector.
Okay, well, listen, as we said, we hope that Mick makes a good recovery and is back with us next week or the week after. Now, Hector, over to yourself here. You're here with your foot strapped up. What on earth happened to the ankle?
Oh, yes. The ankle. Well, I twisted it badly.
Okay. How did you manage to do this? Do you want to enlighten us here?
Well, first of all, it's very sore, but, I get about, I get about from place to place, and I rested it for a few days, feel much better, very good now, rest is good for it.
And I believe you picked up this injury during an Easter egg hunt. Is that right?
Yes, I went and hot ankle hunt. Very sore.
Can I possibly ask, for us here and our listeners, how did you get injured at an Easter egg hunt?
Eamon, you ask, I tell.
Listen, I'm all ears, and I'm sure everybody else is.
I go with friends and they say they bring their child to Easter egg hunt for Easter, you see.
Well, it's hardly about Christmas. Anyway, okay, so you went with friends to an Easter egg hunt, which was for children.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I mean, you have got it. Lots of children were running around this field and they were picking up the coloured eggs, little plastic coloured eggs. And then they had to go back to outdoor tent and they hand over the egg that they pick up and they get a chocolate egg, an Easter egg. There were loads of children all running around. Lots of parents with lots of fun, laughing. Easter Bunny was there too. So, the children, they collected lots. And my friend and I, we were walking around, strolling around. Lots of parents walking around. And then,
What?
My friend, he sees a coloured egg. It blew over a watery drain and he was on the other side.
Well, it's not a particularly safe place to have a coloured egg, eh? Across the drain. Now, I'm not happy about that. There's no health and safety job there, is there?
No. It blew over. The wind blew it over from the field. It was in the field and then it blew over.
Okay.
My friend, he says to me, he will go get egg. And I think maybe I get egg first. And we're both running for it. We're running like the wind, running. The sun was shining, trees, everything is all green.
You know something? I just had a vision there for a moment of something like Born Free.
What is that?
I think that's a clip from John Barry's Born Free. Anyway, Hector, so you were running wild in the field with your friend to go and get a coloured Easter egg. What happened then?
Okay, we are running and he come to the edge of the field when the drain was there and, he stopped. And I run and I think I can do this. I can make it. I make jump. Unfortunately, I did not jump properly and I did not land well and then I landed badly on foot and twisted ankle. Thankfully, the drain was not too deep and I managed to get to the other side where my friends pulled me up and out and, they linked me back then to, the tent because I had managed to get the coloured Easter egg after all of that.
Oh, that's great. At least there was some success there, Pity about the ankle, but there you go. You won't make a career in the Olympics for a long jump, will you?
No, Eamon. No, I won't. And, that's what happened to the ankle.
So you got yourself an Easter egg after all of that?
No.
What do you mean no? You said you got yourself one of those coloured eggs to get one of the chocolate Easter eggs. What happened?
Well, when I get back to the outdoor tent, the woman there, she said to me, the hunt is just for the children. She say she cannot give me the egg because she say I am not child.
She doesn't know you like we do.
So she wouldn't give you the egg?
No, she would not give me egg.
Even though you had hurt your ankle trying to get this coloured egg to get the chocolate egg.
Yes, you're right. That was it. And so I said, here, child, go fasting. But I said, here, you have that. And the child get the egg as well.
Well, at least the egg didn't go to waste, so it didn't. And so basically what it comes down to here at the moment, after all of that running about, jumping across the drain, the only thing you have to show for this, Hector, is a sore ankle.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
You know something? I think I'm going to start calling you Hopalong Hector from now on.
Here he comes, Hopalong Cassidy, here he comes.
Hold on a second. Who is this Hopalong Cassidy? I am not Hopalong Cassidy. My name is not Cassidy. My name is, Hector Gonzalez Campos Cardoso. That is my name. No Cassidy thing. All right, okay. No, I think, you guys are having great fun of me just because, I hurt my ankle. Next time, maybe, you hold your ear or your nose and maybe I go get those scissors handy or whatever.
What an idea. It was scissors hands. What's that got to do with a sore ear or a sore nose?
Anyways, so that's the story of Hector and the ankle.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I have one more other thing.
Listen, I thought we were finished.
Not quite yet, no, Eamon, not quite. Okay, Hector, what have you got for us here? Is this some other breaking news?
I like that. Breaking. Sore ankle, now breaking news. It's a good one.
Hector, go ahead.
I were at my first wake.
Oh, really? Okay. And who's dead?
They say his name was Tom.
Tom, that's it? No surname or anything like that?
I don't get his surname. I heard him saying, Tom is lying there. They put rosary behind him. He lying in bed.
Okay, well, our sympathies to Tom's family there. I hope everything is as well as can be at this sad time. And by the way, for our listeners, just in case you're wondering what a wake is actually a social gathering
where when a person's died, people will come and they'll pay their respects before. It's usually before the funeral. And in most cases, or a lot of cases anyway, it takes place in the house of the deceased person. Now, it can take place in the funeral home, or maybe if they've got some other convenient location. People come to gather, they'll pay their respects, not only to the relatives of the deceased, but to the deceased as well. And have a cup of tea and a sandwich, and gather, reflect, have a chat about the person, their life. And in some ways, it's supposed to be a celebration, a reflection of the person's life. They're passing to the other side. So, you went to this house for the wake? No, I don't go to the house. Oh, okay. The wake, he was in an old school. A school? Yeah, that was it. Yeah, there were people sitting in front of curtains. And then when they pulled their curtain back, I could see this guy Tom, he was lying in the bed, and there was, some family around him. There was a priest there too. He was drinking lots of tea, and he was eating like 3 sandwiches and a load of biscuits.
Unusual to be in a school, isn't it? Maybe he was a teacher.
No. I hear his daughter. She said he was a farmer because she may hear something to her brother that he maybe take over farm now. Well, I thought that the wake would be sad. But people around, they were having a good time. They were having a laugh. Okay. Well, I suppose. Look, they're probably reminiscing about good times with Tom. But there was one thing. There was a woman there. She did very bad thing. Very bad thing. She took Tom's false teeth.
She did what? Hector. What on earth are you going on about?
Yeah, I tell you. She took his teeth. She said that she needed teeth. And she said that his teeth were nice white teeth. She'd take them and she put them into her mouth then. So she did.
I was there. I saw her do it. That's disgusting. That's absolutely shocking and totally uncalled for. And the thing is, you let this woman go ahead and take a dead man's false teeth. All you people around there.
The people around me, they were laughing. They thought it was, humorous.
They were laughing?
Yes.
Well, I don't think it's anything to be laughing about. That's a person who has passed away, and to go taking the teeth out of their mouth. Well, I think that's the final straw. It's just not called on. I don't think it's a laughing matter, Hector.
Well, Eamon, you don't think that bad. But when we were getting ready to go, they picked up the man Tom out of the bed, and 2 guys were swinging him from side to side, nailing him down the floor. I go, Santo Dios, I bless myself 10 times, never seen nothing like this, and people were laughing and cheering. I said to my friends, I had to go. I hobbled out the door as quick as I could. I was going, oh, Santo Dios. I thought, oh my God, what are they doing here? And then when I get outside, I find the priest. He's out there and the family. They're all lined up waiting for us.
Lined up for what? A dance?
I don't know. I hobbled back quick as I could, and I hobbled. I no look back. I thought, no, I cannot be doing with this.
But you know something? This sounds a bit far-fetched, if you ask me. Now, I've been to quite a few wakes in my time, and there's been none of this codology.
Oh yes, you mentioned cod. That remind me. They said the Tom man, he wanted to be cremated, and he ashes spit out to sea.
Really, Hector?
Yes, that's what they said. I heard them say that there, so I did. I hear it with my own ears, cremate him and put him out to sea.
Hector, can I ask you a question? Say when you and your friends were going to this wake, and you had to go into this school building or whatever it was. Now, did you walk in, or did your friends have a ticket and hand over a ticket? Or maybe a few tickets?
Let me think. We get out of a car, yes. Go to the door. I hobble after them. Wait, there were queue. People telling you get in. Yeah, there was a man at the door. Carlos gave 4 tickets, so he did, to the man. And he said to me to enjoy, which I thought odd. I thought we come in, the person is dead, be sad. So.
Tickets to get into a wake? What's this all about? When did this thing start here?
Hey, man. I think you'll find, I'm going to venture to state this, that Hector wasn't actually at a wake.
What?
He was at a play.
A play? What about the wake he was at? And this guy Tom?
He was at a play about a wake.
Huh?
You say a play? Who was playing?
Hector, judging by what you're after telling me here, I'd bet that you were at a play called Wake in the West by Michael J. Ginley. This is a play about a man who has died, and then the family have to carry out his wishes.
So the man I saw, and they saw him swinging around, he not dead?
No, most certainly he was not dead. That's an actor. And you know something? I'm glad you clarified this, because I was just on the cusp, after this show was finished, to go and write an article from the newspaper about this sort of carry on.
So it's a play about a wake in no wake?
Yes, Hector, it's a play. It's a bit of drama, a bit of fun. People were enjoying it. That's why they were laughing.
I see.
Right, lads, I think it's time we had a look at the football.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at Gameweek 33. The highest points
were 158 and the average points were 61. Our league table, there is a little bit of change on it this week, isn't there, lads?
Yeah, there's been a little bit of movement going on. Some people moving up, some people moving down. It's the way of the football. Be interesting now. We go through them one by one to see what's happening.
Well, in first place, no change here is Sari KDB, who got 73 points. Now, they had 3 transfers and they lost 8 points. Eamon, do you want to start us off on this manager and see what happened? What went on?
Okay, well, as you said, they had 3 transfers. They brought in Fernandez, the donkey, for 3 points. They put the son out for 3 points. Madison was brought in for 3 points also, and Rafinha was put out. Now, of course, Leeds weren't playing. Woods was put in for 4 points, and Lacazette was put out. He got 1 point. Now, in my view, the Fernandez versus Son transfer really cancels itself out. So I think, the manager lost a point there for that. And then to exacerbate the things even more so, I know Fernandez had 2 matches. They decided to put him as the captain, and for the 2 matches he got a whopping 6 points. Madison, as we said, got 3 points. Saka was there with 2 points. Salah had 19 points. Mount had 4. Broja was sitting there with 3 points up front alongside Woods with 4. And then we have a look at the back. Robinson had 6 points. Alexander-Arnold had 6 points. White had 2 points. And the goalkeeper, Pope, had 10 points. And on the bench, Pukki was sitting there with 9 points, gathering dust. Questions about the transfers. I don't think they were particularly the best, especially the Fernandez-Son job. I have serious questions here about the captain selectancy. Like, Salah is one of the best players going there. And I know that the donkey had the 2 matches, but the donkey could have 5 matches and he still wouldn't touch Salah. And I think, they could have done better up front. Now, they got 73 points. They'd be pleased with that. But in my view, it's a letdown. They should have been going for the jugular in this.
In second place, no change either, is Tobaggers 6 and they got 71 points. Hector, they played their free hit. Do you want to talk to us about this?
Well, they had the free hit, as you say. They too went for the Fernandez captain and got the 6 points. They had Saka. They had 10 points. Madison was there with 3 points and worked proud. He picked 5 points up. Up front, they had the Ronaldo, who had 17 points. Keane had 2 points. Wood had 4 points. And then at the back, Laporte had the 6 points. Teles had 4 points. Schkar had 9 points. And they had the goalkeeper, Schmeichel, and he had 5 points. Now, the problem, of course, here on the bench, Lawton was there with 7 points. And they had the Bruno Guimaraes with 20 points. It would have been much better to have, the Bruno Guimaraes in there and maybe put the Madison out. And, probably what Eamon will probably say here, they fell into the donkey trap. Again, they had the Ronaldo was there, and perhaps the better return from the Ronaldo than the donkey, as Eamon would say there, and would have done better, to get the points off the bench and not be depending on the lads out on the field there. Okay, so you're saying that, okay, they got 71 points, but you're saying that they made a couple of schoolboy errors. Eamon, you're shaking your head there in agreement.
They certainly did, come on. I think Bruno Guimaraes has been playing very well there, and to leave him sitting on the bench is borderline, questions galore going on here. I mean, I don't know how much I could stress this, but he could be better in there and the donkey out. But we can't change anything. Look, it's done. Look, he's going to have to take the 71 points and leave it at that.
Now, up to third place, of course, is Legion 11, and they have 62 points. Now, Eamon, they had 3 transfers, and they lost 4 points. Talk to us about this.
They decided to bring in Ward-Prowse, who got 5 points, and they put Fabinho out, who got 3 points. And then they decided to bring Bowen in for 2 points, and they put Bernardo out, who had 9 points. And more people were brought in for 1 point. Kuko was out. He's injured. Tony was selected as the captain and got 2 points. Murphy was there with 1 point. Woods, 4 points. As we said, Ward-Prowse at 5. Bowen 2. Saka 10 points. Salah was there with 19 points. White had 2 points. Alexander-Arnold had 6 points. And Cancelo had 6 points there. And the goalkeeper was Schmeichel with 5 points. And on the bench, the actual goalkeeper, Sanchez, got 7 points. Now, my view, look, the transfers that they carried out, Mount only managed to bring in 2 points. They lost the points with Bernardo going out there. He's maybe he doesn't shine every week, but I think he is probably a key player at this part of the season now. And they put faith in the wrong captain. I'm not quite sure why they went for Tony. Yes, he's been getting a couple of half decent results, but again, Salah is there on that pitch playing for that team.
That's who you need to be going for. Down to fourth then is Arkham Avengers. 60 points. They had 6 transfers and they lost 16 points. Hector, were these transfers good value or not?
I don't think so. And especially when they went down, I don't think they did. Look, they decided to bring in the goalkeeper, Schmeichel. He got the 5 points. They put Sanchez out and he had 7 points. Rudiger was brought in and he play. Tierney was brought out, he injured. Shaw came in, he got 9 points. And Doherty was brought out injured. So I think that was a good transfer. Garabable brought in for 2 points. Chelobray was put out, he play. Fernandez was brought in for 3 points and they put the Salah out for the 19 points. They brought Wood in for 4 points and Lacazette was put out for 1 point. The points that they got from the players brought in come to 18 and the points for the players that they put out come to 27. They decided to captain Fernandez and they got the 6 points. Madison was there with 3 points. They had Saka with 10, Gordon 3, Keane 2 points. Weghorst was up front with the 10 point. And when Woods had 4 points, they said Gabriel had 2 points, Schär had 9, Cancelo 6, and then they had Schmeichel at the 5 points. And on the bench, the other goalkeeper, Pope, he have 10 points. In my view, look, the gamble on the transfer it don't work. Putting the Salah out made no sense, especially when they bring in the Fernandez and make him captain in. That completely matters. No nothing.
Yes, but look, this is the spoofer. Like, we're used to him doing mad things. This, I think, has to be the most outrageous piece of work that we've seen of a manager all season. To put the donkey in and then to put Salah out and then to rub salt in the wound to make the donkey the captain. I said this last week. In Holy Week, our Lord wouldn't touch this donkey with a barge pole. Not for arriving into Jerusalem. But yet the spoofer decides not only to say, come along here with me and I'll make you a captain and I'll carry you on my back nearly into... This is just a madness personified. This is the spoofer trying to do the outrageous, trying to reach as, the straws. But this is just, I think that has to be the most, shocking transfer I've seen all season from any manager here that they would go on to. Well, it's one thing having the donkey on your team and deciding I'm going to captain him and having Salah there. But it's another thing to have Salah there and put him out for the donkey.
And of course, Fernandez had the 2 matches.
I don't care if he had 10 matches. He's still not in any way or shape the shadow of Salah.
Okay, they're down to fourth now. Do you think this is going to hamper Arkham's chances of getting and holding third?
Well, I'd be interested to see what they do for the next game week. If they do something like this, they're shooting themselves completely in the foot. And they've got the donkey there dancing in the background.
Okay. Now up to fifth place is Raglan Road. 84 points, Eamon. They had 1 transfer. Do you want to take this away?
Well, they brought Rodriguez in for 7 points and they put Dennis out for 8 points. And, Dennis does blow hot and cold. Didn't pay off this time. Cancelo was made the captain. Got 10 points. Amarte was there with 1. Schär got 9 points. Alexander-Arnold got 6 points. And Willock had 5 points. Saka was there with 10 points. Salah had 19. Wood 4. And I said Rodriguez had 7. Lacazette had 1 point. And their goalkeeper, Pope, had 10 points. They had Bernardo sitting on the bench for 9 points. Questionable choice with Cancelo. I think they should have held firm and had a bit of faith in Salah. They didn't. It's a good result though. It's a nice result. Gets them into 5th. They just need to sort out their captaincy. They need to sort that out there.
And as a result of their going up to 5th, Lafayette Lions are down to 6th and they got 64 points, Hector. 3 transfers and they lost 8 points. They brought in the Ramsdale and they got 3 points and they put Allison out. He had 6 points. And Cucurella came in for 9 and the Keane guy for Everton, he was put out, no point. Sam Maximin was brought in for 4 points. The Dennis, he was put out for 8 points. Not great transfer. Captain was the Madison, 6 points. Bowen had 2 points. Salah had 19. Ward-Prowse had 5. St. Maximin had 4 points. Kane had 2. Weghorst had 10 points. Gabriel was there with 2 and White had 2. Guerrero had 9 points. And the goalkeeper, as we say, Ramsdale had 3 points. They went with the wrong captain. That's the way I come on down here, The transfers, no workout. Not that well. Not looking good. Probably not worth losing the 8 points over. Ain't got a clue. 77 points. Eamon, they had one transfer. They brought Tony in for 1 point. They put Lacazette out for a point.
Yeah, so look, that transfer cancels itself out. But I'm more interested in that Salah is the captain here. 38 points. A great return there. Fornells had 1 point. Bernardo had 9 points. Saka had 10 points. Now, up front, they have Udoward 2 points. Ayew 1 point. Tony 1 point. Pretty much blankety blank from the line there. Alexander-Arnold at the back had 6 points. Van Dijk had 6 points. Cody didn't get any points as he wasn't playing. And unfortunately, this manager, while he did a transfer, they opted for the wrong side of the table. They should have opted to have a sub on the bench, could be available to come in there. Look, they kept faith with Salah, and I have to give hats off for that there. Look, the transfer hasn't made any impact. But the thing is, this is a guy we said had fallen asleep and didn't have a clue, wouldn't have a clue, hasn't got a clue. But they've done a transfer. They're doing something. And I give them a thumbs up for that. Some of the managers could take a leaf out of this guy's book. Very good. Now, of course, down to 8th, the mighty defenders. 59 points. They had 1 transfer. Hector, what happened?
They brought in Wood for 4 points. They put out their Carlson, who had 7 points. They captained the Son, who had 6 points. Fornell was there with 1 point. Brownhill had 13 points. Smith Rowe had the 8 points. Wood had 4 points. Kane was up front with 2 points. And at the back, Cancelo had 6 points. Alexander-Arnold had 6 points. Dawson 2 points. Amorty 1 point. And their goalkeeper, Pope, got 10 points. However, on the bench, they have Fabinho had 3 points. Janssen had 10 points. And Dennis had 8 points. And so, this is a team, who are doing so well, in game week 32. This week, a big letdown. If they had those 21 points of the bench, thing would be very much different, But hopefully, maybe they have time to try and rejig, do something on this,
Now, no change, of course, in 9th place. It's Blightsome squad, but they got 85 points. Bench boost played.
Yes, and also a transfer. They brought Son in for 3 points. They put Salah out for 19 points. And then decided to captain Son for the 6 points. Ward-Prowse got 5. Brownhill had 13. Saka had 10. Sancho had 3. Lacazette had 1 point. Weghorst is up front with 10 points. Cancelo had 6 points. Anderson had 2 points. Alexander-Arnold had 6 points. And the goalkeeper, Pope, had 10 points. The bench didn't really, they're not bench boost, but it didn't really amount to much. Lloris had 3 points. Kraft, okay, he had 8 points. Adams had 1 point and Amorty had 1 point. It's a pity about the transfer that they didn't stick with Salah. There would have been an extra 16 points there for them. Probably more. Most likely they might have decided to captain Salah. But a good move with the bench boost to try and halt any slide and stop any potential gain that another manager could have on them. So they're going to try and hold 9th. Question is, can they get up to 8th here now?
10th place and non-mover is Can We Win Again? 51 points, and they had 2 transfers, Hector.
That's right. They brought in Shar for 9 points, the defender, and they put out the Tierney. He is injured, of course. And then up forwards, they brought in Woods, who got 4 points, and they put Dennis out, who got 8 points. And then they captain Wood, he got 8 points. Kane is up front with 2 points. Adams had the 1 point. Madison was in midfield with 3 points. Saka had with 10 points. Kulusevski had the 2 points. Shah had 9. Laporte had 6. Delata had the 1. Van Dijk had the 6 points. And their goalkeeper Ramsdale had 3 points. And on the bench they had the other goalkeeper Sanchez. He had the 7 points. And Bernardo had the 9 points. The transfer a little bit mixed up. I think he certainly could have a better captain. They took punt on Wood and it no pay off, but that is it. They can do nothing with that there.
Eamon, have you anything to add to that? No, I have nothing much to say. It's another poor week for the manager. That's about it.
Moving along, so in 11th place is Maximum Effort. They got 56 points and they had 1 transfer. Hector, they brought Ealing in for Leeds, who didn't have any football match on, and they put out Damascus, who didn't get any points. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, very odd why they bring him, but I was thinking perhaps maybe because Lewa had 2 matches, were they thinking down the line that they get in the Leeds player now? Nah, maybe that's what they're thinking. They decided to captain Kane up front. They got the 4 points. Antonio had the 2 points. Son had 3. But they had Bruno Gomes on the pitch, 20 points. Very good. Saka had 10 points. Bowen had 2 points. Gilmore had the 1 point. Alexander-Arnold had the 6 points. Cancelo had the 6 points. Johnson was there with 2 points. Unfortunately, they're no goalkeeper. Now on their bench, Gilmore and Johnson came on for Rudiger and Ealing. But Again, it's a week here. They could have made great use of chips. They could have done something, done a little bit better with the team. Maybe get out to the Johnson guy, get out Gilmore, get the goalkeepers in, get a bench in there. Heavy subs. Could have done a lot of things there. Not doing things. Just not seem to not be. Maybe they don't want the chips, do they? Well, look, they're not using them. That's for sure. They're not using them. Perhaps they just don't need them. Maybe they're trying to prove to themselves that they can play this without the chips. But that's just a fool's job, so it is there.
12th place is a non-mover. Bamford Rejects, who have 82 points. Eamon. No transfers. What went on here?
They had Salah as the captain, 38 points. Again, an excellent choice. Son was there with 3 points. Saka had 10 points. They had Dennis on the pitch for the 8 points. St. Maximin got 4. Brojo got 3. Now, Amartey got 1 point. Alexander-Arnold had 6. Cancelo had 6. James was there with no point. And they had the goalkeeper Ramsdale for 3 points. The bench, Amartey came on for Rafina, but there was nothing for, James had nothing there. It's a good result for doing nothing, I have to say. And a lot of the other managers probably scratched their head. But they did keep Salah. Salah is captain. They didn't change anything on that. A couple of the other managers here could have taken a leaf out of this book. It keeps them in 12th. It keeps them safe. They're not challenging anybody. They're not threatened by anybody. It's all a status quo. Even Stevens.
13th place then, no change either. Rosie Rover, 31 points. Hector, again, no transfers here.
No transfers. They have Captain Fernandez, 6 points. Kante, 2 points. Mount, not 4 points. Madison had the 3 points. Niachu Hojo had the 6 points. Creswell had the 2. Gabriel had the 2. And the goalkeeper, Edison, he had the 6 points. They also had Shaw, Bamford and Cavani all injured. And all of them on the pitch. And on the bench, Chilwell and Bundia went out. And Gabriel and Mount went in. Not much you see here. That's it. They don't do nothing. Nothing. It's just...
That again. Look, this is a case of, when you're on gardening leave, the weeds have come out to play. And this is what's happened here. Injured players. Nobody to replace them. No points. No action. Nothing to see here.
And in 14th place, a non-mover also. El Loco John, 24 points. Eamon, no transfers here either.
No transfers. Captain Lukaku got 2 points. Hojberg got 2 points. Rafina didn't play. De Bruyne got 6 points. Madison got 3. McGinn didn't play. Diaz got 1. White got 2. Stones managed 6 points. And Foster, the goalkeeper, got 2 points. Bamford was injured and on the pitch. Tierney was injured and also on the pitch. On the bench, goalkeeper Meslier was there. Kofel, Tierney went out. And... what happened was Foster, White and Osborne came in. They still managed to have players on the pitch who weren't playing. Certainly, I hope they're having a better time with their gardening leave than their fantasy football.
And finally, in 15th place, what a beauty, 99, 51 points. Hector, no transfers though.
No transfer again. Another look. What is this? This is the 4th manager, no transfers down here. And but they have Bernardo, captain, 18 points. Fernandez, 3. Gallagher had no points. Smith Rowe had 8 points. Bissouma had 2. Dennis had 8. Antonio had 2. Cancelo had the 6 points. Amartey had 1 point. Duffy was there with no point. Ramsdale, he's a goalkeeper, 3 points. On the bench, Rudiger was not there. He went out in the Amartey. He came in. If I want to say something, it did nothing happening here either. A bit like Rosie Rovers, a bit like a Loco John. All in the... they're all in the same boat, so there.
Yeah, look, I think it looks like it's a case of a stray sod for this guy and probably some of the others.
Stray sod?
Yeah, it's an old saying. I'll tell you about it after the show, so.
That's it, so that's the final football there, 33. Game week 34 doesn't finish until Thursday evening. That's the day our pod show goes out, so we'll be looking at that now in the next episode as such. See what's happening there, what movement. Again, movement is all there between 3rd and 8th. A little bit of movement going on there. So that's the whole lot of that. Lads, thanks very much for that. Great to have your views and opinions, your comments on that, as always.
Thank you. Certainly gives food for thought, some of these.
Yeah, I have to say, very good, and that's it, they're coming to end of football soon. And, look like the Sariki, they have it in back.
It certainly looks like it. There's nobody to touch them now, is there?
No, I don't think so, no. You could nearly give them the trophy, give a presentation to them there.
Very good. Okay. Lad, thanks very much. You'll be back next week, will you?
I certainly will be back. Well, sure, I'm stalwart here always. Not sure about Hopalong Hector here.
Next week I'll be walking. I will not be hopping. Very good. Thank you, lads. Okay. Well, listen, before we wrap up the show, I just would like to say thanks to the following. And can I give credit for the clip from Born Free to John Barry? Thank you very much for that clip. And also the clip of music and the lyrics from Hopalong Cassidy. Again, credit has to go to Ignacio Herb Brown for the music and to L. Wolf Gilbert for the lyrics. Thank you. We acknowledge that, and many thanks for the use of that. I'd also like to just say a few words of thanks, and these go to our new followers on Twitter and on Facebook. Thanks very much for following us and joining in and tuning into us. And we also thank our regular listeners and our new listeners there. The 2022-23 trophy is currently going to be ordered in the next week or so. And medals as well for second and third place. And like last year, we had the photos up to show people what it is that they were competing for. Again, we will have photos of the new trophy and the medals up as soon as they have arrived. And I think that's about it. Lads, anything else before we sign off and go into the horizon on our horses?
I'd like to give a little shout out if I could.
Take it away, Hector.
Well, I would, for this week, I would like to thank the listeners this week, who are joining us from Dublin, Frankfurt on Main, Cork, Laufen in Bavaria, and Tarragona. We have listeners in Dundalk, New York, our listeners in France, in County Kildare, Johannesburg, Philadelphia, California, Reykjavik. We have listeners in Canada, Drogheda, Swords, Cove. We have listeners in Barnet over in England, Las Vegas, Tokyo, Doha, Mumbai, and over in the province of Bulacan as well. And like all our listeners, and if I missed any listeners out, I send us email, I give shout out there.
Thank you very much for that, Hector. I don't think I could have done a better job myself.
Thank you.
And I hope that ankle gets better. And that's it, listeners. Thank you very much for joining us on today's show. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't a little madcap at times with Born Free and Hopalong Hector there. I hope you found some entertainment and information out of today's episode. And do tell your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to us. And we hope that you join us next week for another fun-packed show. And until then, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night to you wherever you are in the world. Take care of yourselves, and we'll be talking to you soon.